this time. Okay, there we go. Hello. Hello, welcome again. I was very unsuccessful and crashed too far from the internet. So change the location and we will continue on how this day is going. So I'm just gonna continue. Welcome. Welcome back. My name is Julianne Duffy. We're going to go over this week's charts. So we're going to look at each day and what's in store for us. That's what we were doing. And we'll summarize up what the week has got for us as well at the end. So we're going to continue on with what today has in store for us, which is Sunday. And I'd like to make a side note because I was noted that there's a lot of Base 44 commercials. So if you get a Base 44 commercial, don't believe them. And I find it interesting that they are now spamming me because I've already proved them. I'm saying, and that's a whole other story with another video in tow with that. But let's continue. So what today? So Sunday, we're Sunday the 14th. What it has for the collective, like people might be feeling less reactive, more relationship conversations, calmer, more honesty, and really that idea that we can't keep doing the things that we were doing, right? So fewer dramas, more clarity is what we're going to see more on the consciousness and on the whole. In our own lives, what we might see is that's energy leakage. So we're really looking at where we're giving away our energy and it's not being supported. And so I don't know if I'm still live because there's nobody on my live. So we're not being supported. We're going to get rid of that, get rid of the imbalances. There's less overwhelm. We're more able to think things through. And we're letting go of our old expectations, patterns, and our dynamics. The moment is of reflection, realigning our boundaries. And again, we might feel called for today, for Sunday, to update your plans, rebalance, schedule. Again, those type of activities are being supported. So how we might make it through the rest of today, depending on where you're at, because it's morning here and I'm clearly by the airport. It's a little noisy occasionally. How we're making it through, don't rush today and don't rush decisions especially. Clarity is going to come as you go through the day and you're just going to naturally have a better solution. So don't rush anything. And it's a good day to journal and reflect, especially on like, what am I holding more than I should be? So what am I compensating others for? And it's choose peace and then like balance conversations versus anything chaotic. Like if you know it's going to be chaotic, avoid doing it ideally. Release gently today. It's a lot of stepping back. It's not about dramatic endings, it's about letting go without that drama. And it's also a good day. So again, that cleaning and tidying because of the hosta that's covered today. It's about using your hands, crafting, creating, that type of stuff. And one small act today can balance out the rest of the week. So that is really how Sunday is working. So let's pull one wisdom card on what the guides have for the overall today for Sunday, the 14th, and what they'd like to recommend for us. And again, I apologize for the airport being near it. We're right by the beach. It's actually really beautiful. Just loud out here. I was hoping to be in my truck, but I'm too far from my internet, so I can park near our spot. So let's pull up for today, Sunday, the 14th. Our wisdom is we've got the wisdom of flexibility. We've had this quite a few times recently. It's that, again, that idea that in a storm, a flexible tree survives it, a rigid one gets torn down, right? So having that I'm open-minded and flexible as we go through today is going to definitely assist us. And just having that air of, not getting into the drama, being flexible, choosing to step out if it's a little bit too energetically chaotic. Okay, so let's continue. We're going to look at Monday, the 15th of December. So we're going to go over the energies and then what we might see on the collective in our own lives and then how to make it through the day. So for tomorrow, Monday the 15th is our Awakened Day 23. So we've got a lot of inner discernment, energetic sorting, emotional truth. So that's the highlighted energies there. A lot of new beginnings, self-direction, renewed clarity. We're going through movement, mental, emotional stimulation, and we've got the elemental overlay of water, which is bringing that emotional depth, intuition, and subconscious movement. So on the astrology side, the moon is in Virgo at 28 degrees, Scorpio, and moves to Scorpio. And we've got the Shitra to the Swati Nakshatra, so in the Vedic. And so what we have is the late degree of Libra into the Shitra Nakshatra. Good thing I can say that is really about noticing discernment and details that will reveal the truth to us. So we're getting this alignment that is going to help us take this information to really be able to clearly see it more so, if that makes kind of sense. And so we're gonna early morning of Monday, the moon shifts from Scorpio into Swati, which goes into a deep emotional clarity, boundary awareness, and energetic realignment. So Monday creates a day where truth surfaces quietly, but it's something you can't really ignore. So it's unmistakable. It's about emotional directions becomes clearer after the week's fog. So like this is the week that the fog lifts. So it's just everything's more clear and the truth becomes more apparent without it without the fog. The fog's lifting, so it's just unmistakable. It's not being screamed at us. It's a little bit of a quiet truth resurfacing, but it's being a little bit clearer. So we're recognizing our emotional truth is shifting and our direction accordingly, because we've got the day one activates forward movement. So we're going forward. We're leaving the past, taking those steps forward. So what we might feel on the collective is people withdrawing to process. So whatever we've gone through personally, collective, all these different things, we're now kind of going inward to process everything we've gone through. Conversations are becoming more honest. People are talking more openly and honest about things. And that it seems appropriate. Like I went to a YouTube event which was all about mental illness, and it was a book launch for Katie Morton. If you're following her on YouTube, do. She's a really, really, really smart lady. Lots of good information. And it was a very truthful about mental health, right? And we're talking about like why are people at this event? It's because mental health it is probably our number one crisis. Prior to 2020, it was statistically that 80% of adults had some mental issues. What do we think it is after 2020? Probably a lot higher, right? So when we come into tomorrow, it is that forward motion. We're processing this stuff that we've been dealing with, and we're really being more open and honest. So that energy is already starting, and we're going to see more of it. We're going to have more strong intuitive hits, reoccurring thoughts that are just like, no, like this is we're being guided. We're being guided. Hello, Eddie9548. Thank you for joining me. Where are you watching from? Now, what we also may see is a shift from holding it to I just need to be real. Like I'm not gonna lie. Actually, it's funny. We got to see the screening of the new SpongeBob movie. No spoilers. It's funny. If you like those, not looking for anything in depth, but they do shit some bricks, and that's really what I feel like this is shifting from holding it to shitting your bricks and being real. That's just what it made me think of on that note. Okay, so on our personal lives, what we might see is boundaries that we no longer can ignore. So it is that imbalance. So we already had that energy coming up about where we need to see balance. So we're going to continue to have that. Situations might suddenly make more sense because we're having that clarity. And again, purging, clearing, getting rid of drama, because we don't want that anymore. Like we're being honest and real. We're done with that. And also a sense of direction, which is actually yours. Like knowing that this is what your direction is, not everybody else's, right? So that's what we'll probably feel more in our personal lives. To get through Monday and can you imagine seeing ourselves honor our truth without reacting. So again, this is a really good day to take back and that moment of reflection. Journal, sort out the clarity, keep your day spacious. Try not to overfill it, try not to overbook it, too many appointments. Give yourself space. That'll help, especially like as much as you can possibly with your day, right? Because you've got things that are non-negotiable, but see if you can get that space put in and allow insights to come in, not to force things. Like that's also part of the energy for Monday. So let's pull a card, the wisdom from the divine compassion guide for Monday, what they'd like to maybe highlight to assist us. Ooh, imagination. So expand my possibilities with imagination. Images are the building tools of creation. With a rich imagination, you can transform an idea into something innovative, inspiring, and successful. The sky is the limit, and fantasies become reality when you ground it. So, your images, backed by correct actions, have the power to manifest your dreams. So, give yourself permission to dream today. Make sure you have your focus in positive and wholesome, for your imagination can work against you as well as for you, right? So, I think that's a mental clarity, right? Like, remember that achievers always have a clear vision. So get as clear as you can, but be flexible, right? So it's like the idea, my daughter has decided she really wants a job. Wants a job this summer, go stay with her grandparents and work for the summer. So she's really excited. And I'm like, well, you might not be old enough for this type of job, or it might be this. You got to put it out there, but be flexible about what your job might be. As long as you want to put that out, you have a clear vision. You want this to get a part-time job for the summer, but be flexible that you're not niching it, that you only want this type of job, because that's only, I think, we slow down our manifestation and our ability. So it's kind of like find that balance, right? So just a side note that felt very appropriate to that. So be flexible, have a clear vision. Where do you want to end? But be open to how the path gets laid out, right? And Monday, with all of that, searching for clarity, creating some space, we're we're shifting our directions. That's also that image, right? Because it's a directional shift, which overlaps from Sunday, which is about kind of where we're going to go for 2026, right? What do we want to manifest and create? So let's continue. Let's go on to Tuesday. Now, my days are a little bit out of order because I accidentally was pasting and editing and put things in wrong order because I'm so perfect. So let's go to Tuesday, which I have here. The energies we've got: Awaken Daylight 24, which is emotional purge. So when we come into Tuesday, we've got emotional purge, intuitive shaping. We've got the subconscious clearing is the energies. We've got a universal day 2, which is sensitivity, cooperation, and emotional attunement. And we get into emotional day 7, which is introspection, spiritual insights, and inner truth. We also have the water element, which we're going into depth, especially with our intuition. And psychic movement. So we got a lot of that energy with that element attached for Tuesday. And we got the astrology is the moon is in Scorpio, and it's a waning crescent phase still. We've got the Swati Nakshatra to the sidereal Libra. And so what that really looks at is Scorpio emotional depth, some purification, kind of clearing energy, the urge to understand what is actually beyond the surface, so more that in-depth processing and thinking. We also have this Swati Nakshatra, so the Vedic end, which is adding that interesting tone. So independence, that boundaries, that same kind of energy still coming into Tuesday with that. Where have we been letting people come and take us over our boundaries? Clarity and energetic detangling. So the combination, we're looking at really a day when we come to Tuesday that is going to really pull your energy back from places that it didn't belong. So this is really like, if it wasn't apparent by Tuesday, it's really going to show you where you've overextended, where you shouldn't have been putting your energy. So that's really what all the combinations of the energy are highlighting for Tuesday. So it's an inner truth day, quiet but extremely powerful. So it's a really good, powerful day. And what we're going to really feel overall, that's really less about action on Tuesday, more about recognizing what we're letting go of, like detaching, removing the cords is essentially it. So what we might imagine we're going to see on Tuesday when we see it on the collective, people really needing introverted time. So like that reflective time still coming into Tuesday, some space, some emotional space to process, but we're going to have some intuitive hits and symbolic dreams. So watch for that, because that is definitely out in the consciousness coming Monday night into Tuesday, and then even Tuesday to Wednesday. Breakthroughs through boundaries and self-worth and energy and energetic exchange. Again, that balance. Where have we been giving more than we're reciprocating, right? I feel like on a real collective is majority of the citizens have been giving a lot more to things and systems such as government, like paying taxes and giving so much more than they're getting back energetically. Then you got the reverse, where people aren't giving into that system and are getting way more back than they should, right? That's just a base on the collective of where we're seeing that. And it's going to show up definitely in our personal lives, because it's becoming more clear. Where is this balance not balanced? Where is there imbalances, right? So we might imagine own lives where we're seeing energy is drained, where we're seeing it being taken from us. Again, that same energy from Monday. So we're still having that in the background. But we are going to have more in that intuitive clicks, like the aha moments. So more of those aha moments on Tuesday. And we detox, declutter, simplify without overthinking it. It just becomes like, it seems a little more natural on Tuesday, would be how I would describe it. More naturally to let go of the things we don't need. And to how we can imagine seeing ourselves make it through Tuesday is just honoring our space, like we are bringing in the universal energy of two. So don't mind my jet going over. So it's a heightened sensitivity on Tuesday. So we're going to need a lot of space. So give yourself space. That's going to help you make it through Tuesday. It's also recommending energetic hygiene. So salt baths, cleansing breath works, grounding, like letting your energies be cleared. Reflect more than we act, more of that from Monday, right? So more reflecting, maybe a good day again to continue journaling if that's your output. And if you do enjoy that and want that reflectiveness, that is something I have implemented into the Awaken Light app. So if you are interested, I've talked about this many, many times. I'll mention it right here again. It is it's a beta testing. It's an app I'm developing, which is essentially kind of like a version of this, but just specifically for you, where it's looking at the combination of the energetic alignments, how it affects you particularly, and then can help give you personalized guidance. And I'm specifically working on getting it into like a lot of timing, like when's the best time for me to do things? Because like specifically here for Tuesday, like Tuesday is not necessarily a really good time to push hard because we're looking at a need for space, giving yourself some energetic hygiene, reflecting more than we act, and protecting our energy gently but firmly. So that day wouldn't be necessarily recommended for, especially if this is an alignment that's going to affect you particularly, to go hardcore and grind something. It's really about stepping back and being a little more gentle than that, right? Tuition to guide your small choices. So things that are going to be gentle are going to be highly recommended for that day, right? And be more aligned. So how can we use our charts to assist us in making it so we don't feel like we're hitting walls so much? Because often we get into times where we want to create or do something or just come to a blockage, and it's just like we feel like we're hitting walls or there's nothing there, right? And it just might be timing. It might be that tomorrow and the next day and a certain time, it's just a better time to be more so in that, going in that energetic frequency or attempting to create something, right? So that's the idea. So if this resonates, as I've babbled, a little side note on that for today, go to my website. The link is in the description. It's got beta testers. Go and apply. I'm going to be doing a second round of beta testers very soon. So if you're interested, go apply. So anyways, that's how we survive Tuesday: is get the space, reflect more than we act, give yourself some energetic hygiene, salt baths, cleansing breath, grounding, whatever that is to assist you. And your intuition, follow your intuition. That's highly recommended on Tuesday. Okay, let's pull our wisdom card for Tuesday. So the guides wisdom for how to continue, right? How to continue managing, being able to trust it, to honor and give yourself space. Commitment. We got the commitment card today. I commit to my goal. So when you hold a higher vision with a steady, fast purpose, your success is assured, for you've taken a decision to cut away all other distractions. So align to your higher self so that your direction is divinely guided. Then focus on your energy on all your desired intentions. Commitment is a manifestation power that causes the universe to line up its forces behind you. So focus on your thoughts, words, and actions on your goal and anticipate support in unexpected ways. It is now the time to commit. Wow, that is totally appropriate to the Monday, Tuesday on what we were talking about how this is about what you want to create. Now it's also about putting out that idea of committing to it. So what do you want to create? Let your intuition guide you through that, because if you're starting to do that, you start committing to it, even if the output isn't what you really want, but you're committing to doing those steps to create it, it is a way to manifest. And you will get better and you will start to build, and it will, when everything really aligns, you'll probably get that massive boost. And that massive boost might come if you're lucky, which is very few people get it immediately, but the majority of the time it's that manifestation is through a longer term commitment, a few months, a few years, etc., and doing it, which will equal that outcome. And again, if you want more insight on your own personal charts and how that would roll out, oh hello, Poopy. Oh hello, I had a little visitor. If you want to know how that actually works out for your own charts, become a beta tester so you can try out my new app. Or if you really want to know immediately, you can book a personalized appointment with me at my website as well. Okay, let's go on to Wednesday. Here we go. Wednesday, because my dates are backwards. So Wednesday, we're in the 17th of December, and we've got the Awaken Light Day of 25, which is transformation. We've got emotional graduation and shifting perspectives. We're starting to look at things. We're leveling up. We've got the Universal Day of 3, which is expression, communication, and learning through clarity, which is that shifting of perspectives energy again. Emotional Tone 8, empowerment, depth, and inner mastery. And we have the element of fire, which is truth, momentum, and illumination. So we're starting to, again, seeing the truth, having that the fog is lifting. We have on the astrology side for Wednesday, the moon is in Scorpio, and it moves into Sagittarius, and we've got the Vishakra and the Andhara Nakshatra, and both are in the sidereal Libra to Scorpio signs, and it's all in the waning crescent moon phase. So with all of that, I like to go with the technical jargon, then we explain it, right? So the day begins with that late Scorpio under the Vishakra Nakshatra, which is ambition, intensity, and transformative pressures. So we might feel emotional weight and maybe a push for resolutions. So like kind of some things getting finished, right? But by the evening, we're going into Sagittarius under the Vedic Andhara. Apologize. Is relief, pressure, devotion, and heart-centered clarity is really what comes by the end of the day. So when we get into Wednesday, it is a pivot day. Emotional heaviest of Scorpio gives way to Sagittarius, and we've got some more insights and meanings coming in. And again, we've got that intuitive clarity, and there was some comments about Tuesday being with dreams, so maybe that will assist as well, right? So the emotional transformation is leading to sudden shifts and understanding or direction is really the energy of Wednesday. So what we might imagine on the collective, what we're going to see, people expressing emotions that they've held for weeks. So again, being that honest, that transparency that we've had is coming forward, right? We've got intensity in the morning, but maybe some hopelessness by evening. So be aware of that. That can turn from philosophical to more reflective, but it could be in that downer energy. So be aware, right? Just be aware that that could be something you start to see. And when you see it, this is the whole also part of knowing what energies are aligned is that sometimes when there's a little bit more of an increase of a energy that is more negative or frequency, and then you see it or you observe something that mirrors that in your life, you can be, oh yeah, this was coming up, and then you just know it's not you, it's kind of being reflected because that's the energy, and you can be a little bit more prepared, right? So be aware of that for Wednesday. And conversations turn philosophical or reflective, as I mentioned, and people might be seeking meaning behind challenges, right? Which again, meaning behind challenges could become very, it can be sad or harder to reflect on, a little bit of hopelessness if you're not seeing a meaning that is motivating, right? Like that. So be aware, right? That's just that energy that is background on Wednesday. Now, imagine in our own lives what we might see is breakthrough moments, internal releases, something clicks, again, more that aha energy. Maybe we're having it both days. Maybe it's just one of those days it's gonna hit you a little bit more. We also have emotional heaviness, which will start to lighten after insight lands. So there will be some insight, and then it will get a little bit lighter from that. We're drawn to movement, truth, and spiritual clarity. And so how we can see ourselves surviving Wednesday, how to make it through Wednesday. Morning for emotional release and deep working. So again, be aware that that'll come up. So if you're on your way to work or working, that energy is highlighted in the morning. When we get to afternoon, evening, there is going to be more clarity. planning and learning. So that's going to be more open to that. So if you're feeling a little bit more released and feeling deeper in the morning, by the afternoon, it's going to be more into that energy of clarity, planning, and learning things, right? Speak gentle truth, because we're looking at the universal three, which is really amplifying communication. So again, be aware, because we do have that potential for like hopelessness and some losses when you're reflecting on things by the afternoon. And honor the day, right? Allow the heaviness to transform naturally. Like I know today felt a little heavy trying to get my butt moving. Don't know if it was for everybody, but it was a difficult, and it's not a super sunny day, not yet. It might get sunny. It's starting to look like the clouds are breaking, but it was heavy. So allowing it to transform to help go through the day, because it did feel heavy. Struggling again with my life. I've struggled with my life so often. It's just a normality to have a struggle, right? And allow ourselves to go through those without fighting it. So then we can continue to grow, right? So that's how to make it through Wednesday. And a lot of these energies overlap through the whole week, right? You can definitely see the trend the more we go through those days. Because when we get to the 19th, I think the 19th, because we're on the 17th. So when we get to the 18th, 19th, because we get that energy, as I mentioned at the beginning, for this block, which is really the emotional clearing and higher meaning perspective for the 14th to 19th. So we're going to see a lot of that same repeating energy through those days. And we're just on the 17th, and you can still see it, right? So let's pull our wisdom card for Wednesday, the 17th. Intuition. Oh, intuition. So it has long been recognized that successful people trust their gut reactions and work with them. Intuition. So really, again, we've heard this already. If you've been following, this has come up. It's not time to react blindly towards a situation or a person. Rather, to attune to your wise center and balance silent knowing with reason. So our intuition comes from the heart, not from the head. And it's really the hidden ingredient that will help transform a current challenge or situation into a positive one. So I trust my intuition. So find your stillness, get out of your head, get back into the heart, into that aha moment. We're being told, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday so far, as we're going through these days, is very highly intuitive. And there might be some aha moments, some of those dreams. Wisdom, trust those intuitions, the things that you don't necessarily have logical evidence proof for, but that you just know. Trust it. Like, again, trust it. Can I say it again? Trust it. You know what? Trust it. Okay, let's go on to Thursday. That's the 18th. We're here, 18th of December. So we've got the Awaken Light Day 26, which is meaning making, spiritual integration, preparing for renewal. The Universal Day of 4, which is grounding structure, stabilizing your energy, emotional tone. 9, which is release, closure, and surrender. And then we have the fire element of insight, truth, illumination, and spiritual vision. So when we get to the astrology part, Moon is in Sagittarius, and then we've got the Anudra to the other nakshatra in sidereal Scorpio, since I always ruin them. But what happens is the first nakshatra, the Anudra, brings the devotion, the heart, truth, and the desire to align. It feels very spiritually correct. Then the moon moves into Sagittarius and enters into the second nakshatra for the month, for the day, which goes into empowerment, depth, and wise discernment. So the day really has a major clearing energy before the new moon. So that's really what we're feeling between all these different alignments. So the overall strongest energy is recognizing our deeper purpose for recent experiences, which is growth and learning in some way. That's going to be the truth. Like when we start to reflect on things, it is to motivate us to make changes in some way, to learn something, to digest something. It's like I think of a lot of times the reasons we have the experiences we have and have to go through them is to create that discomfort to motivate us. Because if we didn't have this discomfort, this change, this challenge, we would never have the fire lit under our asses to do anything. You would stay doing it. And that's why sometimes we also will go into those cycles where it's people outside of us often see it before we'll ever see it, where we're choosing similar friends or people or situations that mirror themselves and are very similar all the time. And it's once we realize that pattern, we then have the ability to clear that pattern out. And then, but sometimes that's get really discomforting with being in that cycle until we're finally sick of that cycle to motivate us to make those clearing and the changes, right? So that's our last major clearing. The major clearing day before the new moon is when we come into Thursday. Okay. So why do we have these purposes? What releasing what no longer works is the idea of what comes up on Thursday. So we might imagine what we see on the collective. People are quieter, again, more reflective. Very much the week, there's going to be a lot of that. A lot of desire to clean, purge, simplify, get rid of things. Deeper conversations, meaning and truth. Again, on the collective, we're going to see that through Thursday. And a lot of spiritual themes surfacing in collective spaces. So watch for that. Watch for people talking about spirit. Those planes, people traveling, seriously. Now, what we might imagine in our personal lives, what we might imagine see in our day on Thursday, we understand the lesson behind a difficult person. Like I said, this is really what the purpose was for these recent experiences, right? So we're going to understand really why it was. Ready to close a chapter peacefully. Maybe we're walking away from the person. Maybe it's time to just move on from that relationship, business, whatever it is, right? Powerful intuitive insight still, right? We had intuition for Wednesday. It's still there on Thursday. Clear your space, field instinctively. So whatever you need to do feels like move stuff. Listen to your intuition, right? And how to make it through Thursday, I'm going to say straight up, listen to your intuition is going to assist, but keep plans light, conserve energy for the new moon reset. You can definitely see this week is light. Overall, this month was an energy of not really jamming a lot of stuff in, especially I know it's holidays and stuff, but keeping it at a balance for you, right? Because what can be too much for you may not be the same as somebody else, right? So the keep plans light has been a very much of a theme through this month. So don't overdo it on Thursday. Conserve your down. Again, more journaling, reflecting on who you are, letting go with intention, and not clinging, letting it go. Like sometimes, even if we don't want to let it go, it's letting ourselves disconnect is the best way, right? And trust the cycle. We are preparing to go through a major breakthrough, and we're not there quite yet, but it's a cycle, right? So as we get to the 19th, which is that last day of that same energy of like that emotional clearing, higher perspective, getting into Friday's the last day of this energy. We've got Awaken Light day 27 for Friday. So surrender, closure, emotional completion. Universal Day 5, which is change, movement, breakthrough moments. An emotional tone of 1, which is our new identity, seeds are quietly forming. And we've got the elements, which are fire to earth. So that's really highlighted on Friday. So inspiration is now starting to become embodiment because we're starting to go through that different transformation. That's the word I'm looking for. I do good with words. And English is my main language. So clearly, I'm just made to make grunts. English language. Fun. Just no psychic. Actually, I just want psychic abilities to work. Just know what I'm trying to say. I get to the astrology. Moon is in Sagittarius at 15 degrees. And we've got the Jacinta Nishakra into sidereal Scorpio, and we're in a final waning crescent. So, as the last day of the lunar cycle, we're embodying emotional embodiment of completing this major cycle, releasing. The Nishatra brings intensity and deep discernment. So, we're really revealing what's false and strengthening what is true. And it can feel really raw and really exhausting for Friday, but it will be very clear. So it's a final release of the old identity patterns, those final like emotional debris, outdated attachments, like the last things, just really kind of breaking down that we do not need for what we're making or creating for 2026. And what we're going to see maybe on the collective and imagine on Friday is people are speaking less but feeling more emotions. So, you might just see somebody and you just know because you can see them, you can feel, you can sense it, and they didn't even have to say anything, right? We've got a lot of endings and completions are just happening. We just might feel like this is just naturally closing chapters on a lot of things. We are emotionally exhausted, but it's also followed by some relief. We're getting the relief. And it's really a collective sense of I'm done with this chapter. And I feel like that's like everybody's like, we're done 2025. We're all collectively done this chapter. Even though it's not over, we're done this chapter, collectively closing the door. Now, what we might imagine in our own life is letting go of something certain with certainty. Like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. It's gone. Whatever. I'm done. Right. The need for rest, solitude, and quiet. So Friday is not the day to be like pumping it up at the club. Or I don't even know if people are clubbing anymore. I don't even know if that's in the collective energy. Do we club anymore? Do we do this anymore? I don't know. Friday is not a day for that. It is rest, solitude, and going back into quietness. And you'll feel a new version of how you're emerging through letting go of all of this. So how to make it through Friday. So how, like, some of the guidance. Get productivity. So it's not a grind day. Can't make things just appear. It's your body resetting. So sleep. Let your body do what it needs to do. Move, sleep, whatever feels appropriate. Again, you. If you want to know a little more for your own specific, become a beta tester. Go to my website in the description, or reach out for a personalized reading where I will pull this up for all of yours personalized information. Now, also allow closure without guilt, releasing ritual, and ground, rest, and prepare for the new moon, which is for Saturday the 20th. We've got the new moon. So get yourself prepared to let go, to allow the new opening with the new moon on Saturday. Let's pick our guidance card for Friday. Our wisdom, our suggestion by our guides here. I try to be random, but I know there is nothing really random. We can't even make a random number generator. It's really not real. And then the ways companies are trying to build random generators are very interesting. Very interesting, because we really don't even have it. It's really random. So I wonder how well those even really work randomly. Okay. There's randomness. Conservation. Wow, that's appropriate, right? Because it's not about, Friday's not a forced productivity day. It's about resetting, releasing, just grounding for the new moon. And our guidance from the wisdom is conservation. So reach beyond mere convenience and token acts of conservation toward a deeper understanding of balance in your life and your environment. Be prudent and husband resources wisely, which is your time, your energy, right? You are your own resource and managing it wisely. So don't waste your vital your vital essence on worry. So don't waste your vital essence on worry, stress, or anger. Create and nurture a positive, loving frame and mind to return yourself to equilibrium once more. So again, it's balance. So conserve the finite and honor the infinite, right? So what do we have limited resources on? Conserve it. What do we have an abundance of? Allow it to continue to come. That's kind of like the deeper meaning of it. But the conservation seems extremely appropriate when we come into Friday, whether that is for yourself, the energy, letting your body reset, however you're feeling, like really listen intuitively, allow yourself to choose where you need to conserve. Maybe it's, like it's not a day to go out and be out in public, right? Conserve and turn inwardly is highly aligned. Okay, let's go to Saturday. Next Saturday, the 20th. This is where we do have the shift in the week, because when we get into the 20th, this is our anchor point of the week, where resets, foundations, disciplines, and directions, desire to get grounded, create structure, and this is where we're going to commit going into 2026. So what Saturday looks like is a new moon is in Capricorn, and we've got the awakened day of 28. So the day of grounding, rebuilding, and setting new foundations. It's a universal day of 6, which is harmony, responsibility, and home frequency. We also have emotional tone of 2, which is sensitivity, connection, and alignment. So when we get into it, we've got the element of earth is now highly aligned. So we had earth a little bit on Friday, kind of the step between, and now the earth is the full highest element on Saturday. Grounding, structure, long-term vision. We've got the moon in Sagittarius at 27 degrees, and then into Capricorn at 4 degrees. And we got the Mula Purva Ashada Nakshatra in the sidereal Sagittarius. So the waxing crescent begins after the new moon. So what we're looking at overall, to summarize all of that, is a true energetic reset. The Capricorn new moon brings structure, discipline, clarity, direction, and is the beginning of our long-term 2026 arc. Okay, so this is the true energetic reset. In the Vedic translation of Mula, because we're going into the Mula Nakshatra, is karmic clearing and uprooting. And then the Purva Ashara, that nakshatra is renewal, empowerment, victory, and new beginnings. So it alone is just telling us we're uprooting, we're clearing, karmic clearing for that renewal, empowerment, energy, and that new beginning. So really, we're finding the foundation that we're going to start building our next life. So a lot of us have been feeling that, being pulled towards doing a lot of things towards that, but this is really where that is emphasized. Like now, that whole whatever was built, the foundation is moldy, crumbled. We can't build on top of it. The foundation we've destroyed, we're removing that so we can build this new part, that arc for 2026. So what we might imagine seeing for the collective are people getting organized, planning, stabilizing their environments, a desire for structure and long-term goals. Maybe we'll see a lot of things about people putting goals out for 2026 on Saturday. Clarity returning after the weeks of fog. We're finally out of that Mercury Neptune fog area, and we might imagine in our own personal lives identifying our next chapter. Really kind of seeing it again, that commitment of seeing that vision, right? Intentions or making grounded commitments, reorganizing scheduled plans, that type of stuff. And how to make it through Saturday. Get simple. New moon intentions. Just put out what your intentions are, ground your energy before going forward and taking action, and start with one step towards what you want to do for 2026. It doesn't have to be everything. You're setting that intention and then just committing to that intention through taking this step is highly aligned. Honoring what you're building, not what you're leaving behind. So it's like letting go that emotional purge of what we left behind. Hopefully we've all gone through that purge and it's gone. So we're now opening and honoring what is to come. So that is Saturday the 20th. Well, thank you for joining me, Animal Expedition 6942. I am going through this coming week, December 14th to 21st, and we're looking at all the alignments, energies, and focus. And then we're going over how this affects the collective, you personally, and how to make it through each of these days. And we are just finishing up on Saturday. I'm clearly by an airport. And the last part of what I do for each day, after we looked at how to make it through the day, is pulling some wisdom from our divine compassionate guides. So our guides' suggestion, recommendation, help for Saturday is discipline. Bringing in that discipline, people. When you have motivation and we had commitments, right? Commitment and discipline, I think they're hand in hand completely, because to be committed, you got to be disciplined. So if you haven't got this, the discipline is there now. Like you've got to be disciplined to commit. So when you have cultivated self-discipline, you can trust yourself to respond appropriately in any situation. This is a key to peace of mind. Those who are schooled in personal mastery are in command when faced with challenges, so they can show resistance and dignity when others tend to excess. Wisdom guides you to train yourself to be disciplined. Set up life enhancing habits and sensible routines as a foundation for living. I feel like this is just a recommendation of what you want to do and bring into your 2026 arc. I will say that again. Set up life enhancing habits, sensible routines as a foundation for living. Then create methods and systems to promote an appropriate way of operating. So whatever to get you motivated is how I would translate that. The reward will enrich every area of your life. So affirmation, I am disciplined. So the guides, the wisdom wants you to keep in mind when you're putting forward where you want to go and what you want to create for your 2026 life. Set up life enhancing habits. Those sensible routines. If you're going to make those goals or something to start going and implementing, don't wait for January 1st. Do it this week. Start at that day that you're inspired to do it. Okay, let's jump into when we meet again next Sunday. what the energies are going to be looking like. So when we come back into Sunday, we have Awakened Light Day 29, which is embodiment, early momentum, integration of our new direction. We've got Universal Day 7, spiritual clarity, introspection, deeper understanding. We got emotional tone of 3, expression, creativity, and mental activation. And then this plane is completely right over me. Elements of Earth, grounding, structure, and manifestation continuing. We've got the moon, for astrology, moon in Capricorn at 9 degree, I don't even know, 9 degrees and 38 or whatever, something like that. But we got the moon in Capricorn. So it's Purva, Ashada, Nakshatra to Sidereal Sagittarius in a waxing crescent. So we've got the new moon energy is now stabilizing. The Purva Ashada brings purification, renewal, inspired beginnings, and Capricorn grounds a new path into the real world. So really what we're looking at, the strongest, like overall, what the energy has for next Sunday when we meet again, beginning to embody the new version of you that emerged from the reset. So the new you is going to start to be here. So we might see and imagine on the collective, feeling more productive and focused today, better communication, clearer thinking. Early manifestations or ideas are starting to kind of lay out. So you're like, ooh, maybe a win here. Desire for order, structure, and purpose. On our own lives, we might imagine aligned steps in our new cycle, clearer, more stable emotionally. Ideas and solutions are flowing, just like we talked about in the collective, and we're able to speak and articulate our new direction. So, how to make it through next week? Choose one grounded action, or next week, next Sunday, get into grounded action, organize your environment to match what you want to create. Ideas will flow verbally on paper, don't hold them. Talk your creation into manifestation and move your body. That'll help with this new cycle. So that is Sunday. So we meet again here on Sunday. So if you haven't, please do like, share, subscribe to stay up to date and know when I go live, right? And I will go live again next Sunday. So do that so you'll be notified when I do go live. And let's find out Sunday what the guides recommend. Positivity. Because it's the beginning. It's positive. When you commit beyond the ordinary to a greater possibility, your positivity carries a powerful charge that backs up your greatest visions and attracts unexpected support from individuals and the universe. Miracles happen, and impossible becomes possible, and you experience a vibrancy of life that pervades every cell of your in your body. That was difficult to say. Wisdom transforms you to be aware of the tangible power of positive thinking and to give full attention to your goals. Your thoughts can promote the success you aim for, transform your relationships and finances, and heal your body. I am positively focused today. So let's add, as we get to the end, positivity into this coming week, because now by Sunday, we're going through that complete change. We've left that Neptune, that fog. We're gone through that full moon, right? 20th we've opened through, and now it's time to be positive to help us manifest what we want to go. We've already, this week, we're determining we're done this year. We're not taking what we want to take and continue forward with it. And then it's just really going forward with what we want to manifest. And it feels like that's the energy of going forward, creating what this 2026 is gonna bring us. So that is the week for that's December 14th to 21st. Thank you so much for joining me. I do intend this will assist you as you go through your week. And as I mentioned, please do like, share, subscribe so you know when I'm live, which is every Sunday for sure. Sometimes I go more often if there's something important to cover. And if you are interested in your own personal reading, go to my website and get your own reading. But if I would highly even recommend you come and become a beta tester. I'm going to do a second round in the coming weeks of implementing some new beta testers, and you can pull this stuff for yourself and start giving me some feedback on what you would like to see in this really new, interesting app. So let's continue, and I will see you next week. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.